Metro Police in Johannesburg say roads to the south of the city have been reopened after earlier disruptions by residents. Roads affected included the N1, N12 and parts of Pimville.
And the disruptions were as a result of protest action by residents in surrounding areas. In a pamphlet circulating on social media, the Soweto Action Committee and the Gauteng Civic Association have also called for a total shutdown of the area. It appears the protest is over electricity, e-tolls, jobs, housing and against VAT. And the area affected covers Soweto, Freedom Park, Eldorado Park, Ennerdale and surrounding areas. Pictures on social media seem to show stranded commuters at taxi ranks in Soweto, as well as traffic congestion.
The N12 is now flowing. Also, Mojaji Street in Pimville, Klipspruit Valley Road and N17 in Orlando West, which was blocked off. Union Road, Tiptown, which was also blocked with burning tires, has now been cleared. Officers are monitoring the areas closely. However, the traffic flow is back to normal. I can't confirm about the taxis, but what I know is that those roads which were affected was Pimville, Mojaji Street, Pimville, Klipspruit Valley Road. Also, the N12 was very badly affected from about between 3 and 6 a.m. However, but those roads have now been cleared as officers have pushed all the debris to the side, the burning tires, and officers are monitoring the areas.
Well, joining us now on the phone line to help us unpack the details around this story is the Johannesburg ANC regional spokesperson, Joladi Matongo, joins us on the phone line. Good morning to you. Thank you very much for joining us here. If you could just provide some clarity as to what the bone of contention is in Eldorado Park and what the current situation is there.
Well, good morning and to the viewers as well. As the ANC, we understand that civic society organizations across the board have organized various protests throughout Soweto, Ennerdale and Orange Farm, including Eldorado Park. The issues raised is issues around lack of delivery of services, in particular housing, but also a protest against the installation of prepaid electricity and water meters, but also the demands extend beyond that, in that it also includes issues around the stoppage of taxi violence that is going on, in particular in the area of Eldorado Park.
And Joladi, just in terms of the ANC's involvement in relation to the number of wards that the party is running, how extensive is the responsibility to the ANC in Gauteng?
Well, in Johannesburg in particular, we have 84 wards that are run by ANC councillors, in particular in Soweto, in Eldorado Park, in Orange Farm and parts of Alexandra. So we have a huge responsibility to organize communities, but in this particular instance, the ANC is entirely not involved in this mass demonstration which seeks to even extend to damage property of council and private property. So as the ANC, we call upon this particular organization to at least come around the table with the city of Johannesburg and those responsible for whatever service area that they are concerned about to find an amicable situation. We do not support protests that become violent.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Thanks indeed for your time. That's Johannesburg ANC regional spokesperson Joladi Matongo joining us on the line in reaction to the protest civic organization galvanizing and mobilizing against certain grievances that they have, including the prepayment of electricity, e-tolls and the value-added tax increases.
All right, let's continue the conversation this morning. For that, we are also joined on the phone line by chairperson of the Gauteng Civics Association, Tami Hukwe, joins us on the phone line, as I have mentioned. Good morning to you, Tami. Thank you very much for joining us here. If you could just talk us through what has led to the current situation in Soweto, Eldorado Park, Ennerdale and surrounding areas.
All right. No, thank you, ma'am. In fact, this situation emanated from the promises that were made after the May uprising last year in Johannesburg South. At that time, the communities were demanding land, decent housing, decent jobs, quality free healthcare, and quality education. And the state responded by making some kind of promises. Like, for instance, they promised to allocate 48,000 stands to the communities in the Johannesburg South. subsequently to that, there were pieces of land that were identified in Eldorado Park, in Freedom Park, in Annandale, different parts of communities in the Johannesburg South. Then there was also a land summit that was organized in November at Nasrec, where MEC Paul Mashatile at that time addressed with mayors from different parts of Gauteng. So at that time, it looked as if they were to implement their program from the beginning of the year, and by this time they should be in a position to indicate to our people as to when they are going to be allocated the land. But so far, nothing has happened, and there's no proper communication between the state and the community. And the community has been trying to do a follow-up with the state in terms of how far the process is. But they have not been satisfied with the response that they get from the state. Hence, there is this situation now on the ground.
All right, Mr. Hukwe, good morning, rather, and thanks so much for joining us. The issue around engaging the state as a unit, if you like, or a legal entity, as opposed to going per department, do you think that the approach perhaps could have been different in who you're engaging so that you can yield the desired results?
The issue of engaging the state as a legal entity.
I'm saying that instead of going to the state as a broader organization, have you done your due diligence in going to the various departments and holding those officials accountable in their respective areas of influence?
No, that has been done. That has been done. For instance, last week we sent our comrades to meet with the MEC in trying to check how far the process is with regards to the promises that were made. But what we got from our comrades was that there was no proper handover from Mashatile to Uhuru in terms of their work, and that the new MEC was totally unaware in terms of what happened last year with regards to the program and so on. So that creates some kind of a panic and a difficulty in our community, because we expect the state to function in a different way than what the comrades have reported to us.
With regards to the plan of action now, there are reports suggesting that the Gauteng Civic Association has called for a total shutdown of these areas. Is there any truth in that? And what is the plan going forward to find some sort of compromise or middle ground?
Well, what we are expecting at the moment is for the state to try to have a meeting with the leaders from these different communities to talk to the process that was promised last year. So that is what is expected. But also the Gauteng Civics Association is mobilizing for a rally that will be on the 12th of May in Eldorado Park Stadium. And there at that rally, there's an expectation that the MEC of Education and the MEC of Housing must come and report to the community in Eldorado Park, Freedom Park, Annandale, Lehigh, and all these other different areas that are protesting. So they are expected to report on the 12th of May to the community.
Also, are you saying until then you will suspend any further industrial action or strikes as we've seen that affected the N1, N12 and parts of the affected surrounding areas?
At the moment, I will not be able, I'm not able to say what is going to happen as the protest is still going on. There might be a meeting with the leaders from different communities where a way forward can be chanted. So at the moment, I'm not at liberty to say what is going to happen after this.
Can we caution motorists and viewers, and not to necessarily cause any panic or alarm, that these roads may still be not only congested, but there may be disruptions due to your strike?
No, I really do not think so. I really do not think that there will be, the disruptions will continue. Because you see, when communities are in this kind of an action, they are acting like this because they want the state to respond, you see. So it will depend. We will meet with the leaders And then from there, we will see if the state is responding, then there won't be any need for the protest to continue. But if the state does not respond, I don't know what is going to happen.
All right, thank you very much, Chairperson, for your time and unpacking those details for us to be able to have a better understanding of the issue. That was the Chairperson of the Gauteng Civics Association, Mr. Thami Hukwe, joining us on the phone line, just providing some clarity as to the disruptions that we saw in areas of Eldorado Park, Ennerdale, Soweto, issues of e-tolls, jobs, housing, and also the VAT in Greece are some of those bones of contention. But stay tuned as we continue to give you the latest developments.